Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, Tasha Miller leads a lawsuit against the government over prison conditions. Tasha Miller, the alleged leader of the notorious Klansman gang, is among 16 inmates suing the government over conditions at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center, the country's main prison. The lawsuit, filed on December 4, 2024, claims that the state has violated their constitutional rights, including their right to equal treatment. The lawsuit names the superintendent of the downtown Kingston-based correctional facility, the Minister of National Security, and the Attorney General as defendants. In addition to Miller, the plaintiffs include Curtis Armstrong, Errol Clark, Vaughn Taylor, Howard Young, Kirk Forrester, Adrian Clark, Rohan Carr, Dwayne Frater, Chanel Daly, Deshaun Guest, Curtis Carter, Karen Williams, Ronaldo Spence, Dwayne Drummond, and Kemar Spike. The inmates are seeking 11 declarations and damages for alleged breaches of their rights. They contend that their right to equality before the law was infringed when the superintendent and his officers imposed a no-visit day rule on several days in November 2024 without informing them or their families. The lawsuit also claims that a 2-year visitation ban breached their rights to communicate with their family and spouses. Another major issue raised is the lack of access to legal representation. The inmates argue that the superintendent and the Minister of National Security have collectively failed to establish sufficient rules and facilitate for them to meet with their lawyers and prepare their defenses. The inmates further allege that very lax rules and practices govern visits by lawyers and that there is a complete failure by prison authorities to facilitate meetings with legal representatives. The long-standing physical conditions at the cramped and deteriorating centuries-old Tower Street prison are also cited as violations of their rights. Miller and his co-claimants, who are appellants not yet serving sentences, are also challenging Section 31(3) of the Judiciary Appellate Jurisdiction Act, which regulates when sentences begin for individuals awaiting appeal outcomes. They argue that appellants should not be treated the same as prisoners who are serving sentences, and they seek for this section of the law to be declared null and void. As a result of the unlawful conduct, actions, and inactions of servants or agents of the state, the claimant has suffered the breaches and the contraventions of his fundamental human, statutory, and constitutional rights, and has sustained injury, loss, and damage, and requested that this court enhance the respect for his inherent dignity as a person and a citizen of a free and a democratic society and his constitutional rights by granting the relief sought, one court document read. Miller, who is appealing a murder conviction, is among 23 individuals, including Frater, Guest, and Spence, charged in March 2024 under the anti-gang law for alleged involvement in the Klansman gang Tesha faction. The group is accused of crimes such as murder and illegal firearm possession reportedly committed between 2017 and 2022. The inmates are represented by attorney John Clark. The Ministry of National Security has confirmed being served in the matter, but stated that it is unable to confirm the response of the superintendent and the minister at this time. The Tower Street Adult Correctional Center has faced decades of scrutiny. Concerns escalated following a structural assessment conducted after an earthquake rocked the island in October 2023. The report, parts of which were made public by the news in February 2024, flagged several areas, including 5 blocks housing 196 inmates, as posing an immediate danger to inmates and the staff, recommending urgent relocation and reconstruction. The facility, along with the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center, has long struggled with overcrowding and deteriorating conditions, highlighting the urgent need for a modern correctional institution, a solution that successive governments have yet to deliver. The current administration has stated that plans are being explored for a modern prison. Tower Street Prison was established by the British colonial government for slave trading, later becoming a prison in 1845. Similarly, the St. Catherine facility was originally built in 1655 as a holding area for slaves before being used to house death row inmates. A United Nations finding in 2010 stated that the two facilities were overcrowded, lacked sanitary facilities, and any meaningful opportunities for education, work, and recreation. Pastor shot dead in Old Harbour, St. Catherine. The town of Old Harbour in St. Catherine has been rocked by the shocking murder of a popular local pastor who was gunned down in the town center on Saturday night. Michael Spencer, a well-known pastor at the Overflow Anointing PGS Church, was fatally shot by unknown assailants near Lincoln Plaza sometime after 8 p.m., according to residents. Images are circulating on social media of the crime scene, where residents gathered as they looked on in shock. The police have yet to release a formal report on the incident. Spencer's wife, Apostle Martha Spencer, founder of the church, took to Facebook to mourn her husband's tragic death on Sunday morning. In a series of emotional posts, she wrote, "My husband was gunned down, oh God, them kill my husband, Lord, Lord." In another post accompanied by a photograph of her husband praying, she said, "Oh God, why, oh my God, sleep in peace, King, my life, my happiness, oh my God." Martha Spencer also shared a video of her husband preaching passionately to a congregation, asking, "How can I go on without you? Tell me, the pain is too much." She added that, "My husband, I can't do this without you, honey. I'm losing. Help, Jesus, help. Honey, please come home." Her Facebook community has rallied around her, offering condolences and support. "I pray God comforts you in this time, Apostle Martha Spencer. Strength for your family and your husband's family. The devil is a liar," one woman wrote. Others expressed their shock and sadness, with one woman stating, "Oh Jesus, have mercy. I am lost for words, but take heart, my Apostle Martha Spencer. My prayers are with you and your family. Remember, God is in control. Sleep in peace, Pastor Michael Spencer." Another woman who claimed to be an aunt of the deceased reacted at the news by expressing her grief. Nephew, why? Oh God. Me one nephew from my brother. Mighty God," she stated. Biden posthumously pardons Jamaica's national hero, Marcus Garvey. United States President Joe Biden has issued a posthumous pardon for Jamaica's first national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, more than 101 years after his 1923 conviction for mail fraud, a case long criticized for its racial and political overtones. The decision on Sunday from the outgoing Democratic leader follows sustained advocacy from several U.S. lawmakers and legislators, including Democratic Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke, who chairs the Congressional Black Caucus. Clarke, the daughter of Jamaican immigrants and a Brooklyn representative, had led multiple calls for Marcus Garvey's exoneration, arguing the conviction was as a result of governmental misconduct aimed at discrediting the influential civil rights leader. Exactly 101 years ago, Garvey was convicted of mail fraud in a case that was marred by prosecutorial and governmental misconduct. The evidence paints an abundantly clear narrative that the charges against Mr. Garvey were not only fabricated, but also targeted to criminalize, discredit, and silence him as a civil rights leader, according to a letter that the caucus submitted to Biden in December. He leaves office on January 20 when Republican Donald Trump takes over. In response to this blatant injustice, President Calvin Coolidge commuted Garvey's sentence upon eligibility. Efforts to clear Garvey's name have persisted for decades, the letter added. Garvey, founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, championed the economic and social progress of black people globally, inspiring millions across 40 countries. His legacy influenced iconic figures such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela, and his advocacy planted the seeds for the modern civil rights movement. In May 2023, Clarke and the 22 congressional colleagues wrote to Biden urging Garvey's exoneration, citing evidence of prosecutorial misconduct in his trial. Garvey's contributions remain central to discussions about racial equity and justice. The government conferred the nation's highest honor Order of the National Hero in 1969, some 29 years after his death in England. His body was brought back to Jamaica in 1964 and buried in the National Heroes Park in Kingston. Biden on Sunday also pardoned the immigrant rights activist Ravi Rajbar and the criminal justice reform advocate Kimber Smith-Pridia. Rajbar was convicted of a non-violent offense in 2021 and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Smith-Pridia is an advocate convicted of a drug offense in 1994 when she was sentenced to 24 years behind the bars. President Bill Clinton commuted her sentence in 2000. It is still not clear whether Biden will use his last day in office to give pardons to people who have been criticized or threatened by President-elect Donald Trump. Issuing preemptive pardons for actual or imagined offenses by Trump's critics that could be investigated or prosecuted by the incoming administration would stretch the powers of the presidency in untested ways. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.